everyone. So we've covered the basics for the service sector in the first lecture itself for the economic survey, where we covered about its contribution to the Punjab economy, how much workforce does it employ. But still, the services sector contributed 47.18% to Punjab's GSPA in the year 19 to 20, and it has employed 40% of the total workforce in the year 2018 to 2019. Within this sector, trade and repair services accounted for 93.4% of the GSPA from trade repair and hotels restaurant. So basically from this category, trade and repair services contributed 93.4% and has consistently contributed more than one-fifth to the total services for GSPA. So out of this 47.18%, approximately one-fifth if we take, so 9 to 10% approximately has been coming from this trade and repair services sector exclusively. So services sector is the largest contributor to the state GSPA. As we've seen, it is already contributing 47.18% approximately, and the share of services in state GSPA has witnessed a rise, which is in line with the national trends, and it contributed 47.18, and it has grown from 43.79%, which was in 2011 and 12. I would like you to comment how much is the contribution of services sector in India and the employment percentage of people employed in the service sector in India. So the trade, repair, hotels and restaurant sector exclusively has the highest contribution towards the value added from the services sector, and the trade, repair, hotels and restaurants category employs the highest percentage of workforce within the services sector as per the economic survey. The composition of services sector has remained similar over the year, with trade, repair, hotels and restaurants as the leading contributor. So within the service sector, this has been the leading contributor since 2011 and 12. So in the economic survey, it has been mentioned that there have been certain incentives given to the IT sector. So it is the first state in India to reimburse the percentage of net GST for inter and intra-state sales. So this is a good point to remember, and you can also add it in your answer writing while you're practicing, or if a question comes in any subjective paper. So there has been provided an employment subsidy of up to rupees 48,000 per employee per year for 5 years, and 100% exemption of on electricity duty for 10 years, stamp duty, CLU, EDC, and property tax for 10 years. There have been 6 multi-skill development centers which have been commissioned in the cities of Ludhiana, Amritsar, Bathinda, Hoshiarpur, and Anandpur. So you should remember this, which cities have multi-skill development centers. So tourism, as we know, is a very important component of the services anyhow. So the growth in the sector is sustained by investments from state government as well as assistance provided by the Asian Development Bank through Infrastructure Development Investment Program for Tourism project, which was part of or mentioned in Punjab State Tourism Policy 2018. So this also gives us Punjab State Tourism Policy came out in 2018. I would like you to tell me which year did the industrial policy for Punjab come in. We did that in the last lecture, so please comment that. So Tamil Nadu tops in the tourism category, and Punjab is basically 8th in ranking in the foreign visits category, and Amritsar in Punjab accounts for more than half of the total tourist footfall in the state. Next, we have the transport sector. So transport is another major sector. It is a very important sector for not just services, but as such for any other sector also, be it industries or be it agriculture, because only through transportation can we meet the needs for demand and supply anyhow. So with an average contribution of 7.1% to the GSVA from services, between 2011 to 12 and 2019 and 20, the transport sector has emerged as an integral part of the state economy. The transport sector in Punjab is driven by road transport followed by railways. So road transport is more prominent and important. So the railway network in Punjab is well developed with 2759 running track kilometers, accounting for 2.9% of the total railway network in India, this percentage becomes slightly important. So it is 2.9% of the total railway network in India. And development of roads in Punjab is basically handled by four institutions. The national highways are looked at by the government of India. State highways are looked at by state public works department. Town roads are looked at by municipal bodies, and the rural roads are partly looked at by PWD as well as partly by the Rural Development Department and Punjab Mandi Board. So this is about the banking sector basically in as part of services sector. As on September 2020, it has 18 public sector banks, 14 private sector banks and small finance banks, one regional rural bank and one cooperative bank with total of 7371 branches. So this is not important, but one cooperative bank, one regional rural bank, 18 public sector banks and 14. So the numbers are slightly important, but not very exclusively important. So credit deposit ratio, which is the proportion of loan sanctioned by a bank from the deposit it receives, has been higher than the national bank. So credit deposit ratio is basically the proportion of money that a bank receives that it gives out as loans. So if a bank receives say 100 rupees of deposit and it gives out 10 rupees of loan, so the credit ratio will become 1:10. So credit deposit ratio will become 1:10, 0.1 basically. So the national benchmark for credit deposit ratio in India is maintained at 60. In Punjab, the credit deposit ratio for 2018 and 2019 was maintained at 68.3 and 62.2 respectively for scheduled commercial banks. These are just some statistics that we covered as they were mentioned in the economic survey. So this was a short lecture. Services sector we covered. Tomorrow we'll go forward and cover the next chapter. So see you in the next class. Thank you.